Good morning, mathematicians. It's Tuesday of week 10, and we are thinking volume. This is what is the volume of the below figure? We are going to be thinking about our three dimensions and multiplying our three dimensions in order to calculate volume, which is really looking into the volume formula. Volume equals length times width times height. We can join those numbers, those three dimensions together in any order, thanks to the associative property. So we're thinking about 7 times 6 times 2. Well, we have 7 times 6 times 2, and I know that 7 times 6, of course, is 42. And I know that 42 times 2 tells us that this volume is going to be 48. So we are going to have a volume of, uh, actually, rewind. 42 times 2 is going to give us 84. Now we've got it. This is going to be a volume of 84 inches cubed. Now, in our next question, we're also going to be linking into the volume formula, but we have different dimensions. So I'm looking at a length of 30, I'm looking at a height of 5, and I'm looking at a width of 5. So I have 30 times 5 times 5. Now I know that 5 times 5 equals 25, right? Now I can look at this and think, well, 25 times 3 is 75, and there's one more zero outside that basic fact. So my answer to this is 750 inches cubed. Now we're going to get into some irregular values. We have an irregular shape here and here and here. So in all of these, we're going to have to think and use a different problem solving plan. So my problem solving plan for this, since I can divide this, I'm going to calculate the volume of this vertical prism, and then I'm going to calculate the volume of this prism, and then I will add those two together, right? Now, we have to be careful when we do this and make sure that we're using the dimensions of just this particular prism. So I can clearly see that it has a height of 10. Now, when I take a look, the length is not 9. This is for the entire shape. I'm going to use this length dimension here. So I am looking at 4 times. Of course, that height was 10. I'm looking for where the width is. It's not labeled here or here, but it is labeled here, right? So this width is the same throughout. So I have 4 times 8 times 10. That will tell me the volume of this prism. Now I know that 4 times 8 is 32, and I know that 32 times 10 is 320. So this particular side right here is 320, but that is not the overall volume. I still need to calculate the volume of this side over here and then join those two together. Now, when I look at just this prism, once again, I can't say that it has a length of 9 because it doesn't. But I know that this and this are the same. Those were both a length of 4, which tells me that the remaining measure has to be a length of 5 because 4 plus 5 give me 9. So I know that the length of this prism is 5. I know that the width of this prism and the other was 8, and I'm looking for what the height is. Now, if the height of the whole thing was 6, and if the height of this side, or excuse me, the height of the whole thing was 10, and I know that the height of this side was 6, I know that this has to be 4, because 4 plus 6 equals 10. So it does have a height of 4. Now, let's join this together. 4 times 8, or excuse me, 5 times 8 is 40. And 40 times 4 is 160. Now I have my prism 1 was 320. My prism 2 was 160. I add those together, and that tells me my overall volume, which is 480 meters cubed. Now, that is a great strategy, but it is not the most efficient strategy for this one. I wouldn't want to put this into like 4 separate prisms when there is a more efficient way to do this. Think about what we did yesterday where we pretended like it was a continuous prism and then we subtracted those missing parts. That's what we're going to do here today. We're going to pretend like this is an intact prism, and then we're going to subtract the whole, subtract that missing piece. So I am going to think if this were a continuous prism, it would have a length of 8, it would have a width of 4, and it would have a height of 6, right? Now I know that. I'm going to do my 4 times 6 first. That's 24. Now I need to do my 24 times 8. I'm going to come over to the side and do that. 4 times 8 is 32. Here is my 2, carry my 3. 8 times 2 is 16. 17, 18, 19. So I'm looking at a volume of 192 cubic centimeters if this were continuous, but it's not. So now I'm going to think about this particular prism that is right here. This particular prism has a length of 4 and it has a height of 2, and the width would be the same. Well, the width here is 4, right? So really, this is like 4 times 8, which is 32. So the next thing that I need to do is I need to take my 192 of the whole prism and I need to subtract out the 32 that is the missing part. And when I do that, I'm going to get a difference of 160. So what do I know to be true? I know that this prism has a volume of 160 centimeters cubed. One more question for today, and this question is also in irregular shape. I'm going to think, what will my problem solving strategy be for this one? I'm going to kind of chop this part off right here. And similar to what I did, let's see, here where I separated it, I thought about my vertical prism and then added this side. I'm going to do something similar here, okay? So I'm going to calculate the volume of this prism by multiplying length times width times height. Well, it has a height of 3. It has a length of 2. What's the width? The width is the same, so the width is 5. So I'm really looking at A, 3 times 2 times 5. Well, 2 times 5 is 10. 10 times 3 is 30. So I know that this particular prism has a volume of 30 cubic centimeters, right? Now I need to calculate the volume of my other prism over here. This prism definitely has a large height. It has a nice tall height of 10. It has a length of 3, and the width is the same. The width is 5, right? Well, when I join that together, I have 3 times 5 is 15, and I'm going to multiply that by 10. I have 150. So is 150 my final answer? No, it is not. We know what we have to do here is take our 150 from prism B, our 30 from prism A, join those together to get an overall answer of 180 centimeters cubed. And that finishes out our Tuesday column.